Meet Himanshu. He is a friend and climber from Delhi, India. Recently, I challenged him to an international climbing competition. Did Himanshu canvas this Dual-Tex V5 while I struggled on an overhanging V3 boulder? Plus, we'll hear from Vicky, Indian pro climber and 3-time national champion. I'll be climbing at Fargo Climbing in North Dakota, USA. And Himanshu will be at City Noida in the Delhi National Capital Region of India. We'll both attempt boulders from V0 up to V5 with 5 points for each successful climb. Are you ready for India versus USA? Himanshu versus August? Totally Ripped versus dad-bod? Let's go climb.
Hello friends, my name is Himanshu, or you can call me Bob, and that's my buddy Joy at the back. That's my climbing buddy Joy. I'm joining in from New Delhi, India. My friend, we used to climb together, and he's in the US right now. He's actually challenged me for a very, very exciting competition. Stay tuned, and I'll look forward to having fun with you guys.
So I've spent a fair amount of time in Delhi, and so that's where I met Himanshu at Climb Central Delhi. Some amazing competition climbers, speed climbing, everything, you name it. There's some really talented climbers in India. And yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. If you take nothing else away from this video, always brush V0s before you start climbing. This orange V0 was on the slab wall. It had nice jugs and was extremely straightforward, as V0s should be. It was a great opportunity to go slow, warm up, and focus on good form.
So as the challenge stood, I had to complete 6 different routes, starting from V0 all the way to V5 in one day. I particularly focused on the fact that I will only attempt those routes that I have never attempted before. And for my first route, I went for V0. As you can see in this video, V0 was a fairly comfortable route for me. I had no trouble reaching all the way to the top, and this felt like mostly as a warm-up exercise to me.
Was really gripping it tight, like trying to hold on. This black V1 had an engaging leftward traverse. It included a variety of different holds, including this undercling on the bottom of the volume. The angle of the next handhold was easiest to grip once my body weight was leaning to the left of it. Then I positioned myself for the end by standing in the corner and slowly matching my hands on the final hold. Well, hey there.
Moving on to the next part of the challenge, my next route was for level V1. This level V1 route is on a wall with slight overhang, and at the same time the holds of this route were a mix of pinches as well as some good jugs. This required me to traverse laterally in order to make it all the way up to the top. I deliberately avoided matching my hands on any of the holds so that I keep up the momentum and don't end up spending a lot of time on any single hold. This was definitely a fun climb.
This green V2 on the vert wall consisted mostly of crimps, but thankfully not the type of razor-thin crimps that give you nightmares. The main challenge with this boulder was figuring out the sequence and appropriate body positioning depending on the angle of the holds. I had a lot of fun working my way to the top and found this volume along the edge quite useful, even though it was polished and slippery from a lot of use. The final challenge was finding a secure stance to match my hands on the last hold. Shifting my foot to the right was all that was necessary to feel confident about bringing my right hand over.
The next route was level V2. This route was on a cave route setting where the initial angle was 45 degrees with a near horizontal ceiling. This required me to keep my core engaged at all the times, even though the holds were very, very juggy. and at the end of the route, this required a strong bump motion in order to catch the final hold. Overall, this was a fun route and I really enjoyed climbing this.
Okay, so we're gonna try out this V3 here. It looks like it's gonna have quite a few pinches, maybe some slopers. So yeah, excited to try it out. I think it's gonna be a little challenging for me, but good to choose challenging climbs, so let's go try it out. I wonder. Oh, that might work. So I've got to start here, but then if I matched, I think I can go up. That's a lot of jogging. A lot of people have been on this route apparently. Okay, I think this is coming together. Give it another go. Wonder if it's better just to go straight up, yeah. Close. Okay, this could be it. I'm not really even going to use these two that much. All right, let's give this a try. Oh man. I climbed a little bit in college, and then I got back into climbing late 2017. Actually, the first time I climbed outdoors was in India. The climbing community in India is pretty awesome. So that's why it's so fun making this video with Himanshu today. But yeah, a lot of really top level climbers in India too. Coming up in competition climbing, but some great boulderers, some awesome sport routes going up. So it's a pretty cool climbing scene there.
That's really cool.
Yeah. All right, so I think I will give this one more go. And if I don't hit it, I'll move on to V4. Don't want to tire myself out too much. Oh, that last move.
My next route was level V3, and this is where things started to get trickier for me. This route, the one in yellow color that you see in front of you right now, is the one with all the holes in one straight line. All the holes of this route were very bad slopers and required a lot of grip strength in order to grab them. I started by observing the route carefully and noticed that the bottommost hold on the right side of the wall was a good hold, but the second one right above it in the front wall was a horrible foothold. So I took special care not to keep my foot on that particular hold and just evade it if possible. I was able to successfully do that, and for the rest of the climb, I tried to follow a layback motion where I was trying to keep my foot sturdy on the tiny sloping holds that were there while struggling to make it every single step further. And finally, I was able to make it all the way to the top without any considerable difficulty. This was a difficult route, but I was able to flash it.
Okay, so we're gonna try this yellow V4 in the background. They just set this today. So it starts on these crimps here and then eventually traverses over and then it tops out at the very top of the wall. Or if I should have started with. That's fun. Oh, shoot. I enjoyed the beginning of this climb quite a lot, but once it transitioned to this traverse, I couldn't quite figure out the sequence to continue moving to the right. Hopefully I'll be able to unlock this one in a future session. Let's see how Himanshu is doing.
The next route was level V4. Level V4 was particularly challenging for me. For this route, I selected a route that was in one of the corners of the gym. The holds on this route were mostly crimps and some really bad footholds. I started off with the route fairly easily with my left foot on a very nice hold, but soon encountered a horrible crimp on my left hand. Luckily, I have good crimp strength and I was able to easily latch onto that crimp, but soon thereafter, I encountered a very bad foothold for my left foot. It was just some friction on the wall where I was having a very hard time trusting my foot on that hold. As you will see here in the video, I struggled quite a bit on that particular foothold, trying to figure my way out, trying to find an alternate beta so that I don't have to rely on my left foot, but was not able to find it out. After spending some time up in the air juggling through different possibilities, I ultimately decided to commit to it, took a deep breath, chalked up my hands and just went for it. I committed on my left foot and tried to go for the final hold, which surprisingly luckily for me was a very nice crimp which I was easily able to grab onto. Overall, this was a very challenging route for me, and yet I was able to enjoy my climb on this one.
Recording a bunch of 4K footage of the crash pad.
I can feel like screen was cracking stuff.
For my final boulder problem, I chose this pink V5 on the corner of the slab and vertical walls. These crimps and small footholds gave the feeling that I could fall off at literally any time. I gave it a couple more attempts, but it was also clear that my fingers were getting tired from the previous climbs. In addition, with holds on both sides of the corner, most of the body positions felt quite awkward. But hey, let's go cheer on Himanshu as he attempts his V5.
The final route of the competition series was level B5. I was very excited for this one because this was the most difficult one, and as you can see in the video, I also got a bit of an audience to cheer me up. All the holds on this route were dual texture slopers, which was very difficult and required impeccable precision from my side. At the same time, to make matters more difficult for me, this route was on a wall with heavy inclination. I started off on the route fairly confident and soon encountered a horrible sloper which I had difficulty grabbing onto. I skipped that one, went for the next one, and as you can see, I had a slight barn door swing which I was able to control. After holding the next sloper, I kind of struggled for a bit because I was trying to find the right placement for my foot so that I can go for my next move. After struggling there quite a bit, I figured out that heel hook was probably the right idea. The heel hook, once I applied, was a major failure because I slipped, and that's when I decided that I'll just campus my way through it. The campus was fairly easy because I have a strong upper body strength, and for the next one, the volume that I had to grab onto, I once again decided to just campus it. Once at the volume, I was feeling fairly good about myself that I almost finished the route. But the final hold of this route was very tricky as it was a dual texture sloper which was inverted in position. So in order to match myself and balance myself on the slopey wall, I had to compress the final hold with both my hands from bottom to top. This was difficult, but I had a lot of fun doing this route. This was also my flash attempt, and I was able to finish this route on a happy note and this competition feeling very good about myself.
Hello guys, this is Himanshu. I just finished my climbing session here. I'm at City Noida in the Delhi NCR region. And it was a fun session, of course, and I really enjoyed doing my routes. Just thought that I'll introduce you to my good friend and the person who's been like really training me for climbing. Meet Vicky. Vicky is actually a international level climber. He has actually represented India in a lot of World Cup competitions. And I thought I'll just give his perspective of how the sport of climbing is growing in India and how different it is when it's compared to some of the other nations like Europe or some of the North American nations. So विकी, आप एक इंटरनेशनल लेवल एथलीट हैं. आपने क्लाइंबिंग कॉम्पिटिशन्स में इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट किया हुआ है, वर्ल्ड कप लेवल पर रिप्रेजेंट किया हुआ है. आपको क्या लगता है कि इंडिया में क्लाइंबिंग जो है वो कितना डिफरेंट है? इंडिया में क्लाइंबिंग सीन कितना डिफरेंट है अगर हम उसको नॉर्थ अमेरिकन कंट्रीज़ के साथ में या यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ के साथ में कंपेयर करें?
इसे दूसरे कंट्री के साथ कंपेयर करें तो जैसे यूरोपियन है अदर कंट्री के साथ, तो बहुत पीछे है हम. लाइक उसकी उनके पास जो फैसिलिटी है, जैसे उनके पास होल्ड है या जिम है, उनने बहुत ही आगे बहुत ही आगे डेवलप कर चुका है सब जगह पे ना. जैसे इंडिया में बहुत ही कम जिम है या कुछ ऐसे वॉल है कि ओपन है कि धूप के टाइम चढ़ नहीं सकते हैं ना बारिश के टाइम चढ़ सकते. तो लोग वैसे देखा जाए तो क्लाइंबिंग स्पोर्ट को ज़्यादा जानते नहीं हैं.
करेक्ट.
तो दिल्ली में थोड़ा थोड़ा स्पोर्ट बहुत डेवलप होते जा रहा है, फिर लोग जानने लगे कि स्पोर्ट क्लाइंबिंग क्या है, जिम खुलने लगी है बहुत जगह पर. तो सही है. ऐसे देखा जाए तो पहले की याद है 5-6 साल पहले और अभी के मामले में बहुत सही है जिम.
करेक्ट.
लोगों को पता चलने लगे कि क्या क्लाइंबिंग.
राइट. अच्छा, नहीं, एक्चुअल में this is actually right, because what Vicky has also suggested is that climbing scene in India is now growing because there are a lot of new gyms which are opening up. I hope the future of climbing as a sport is really, really bright in India. Thank you so much for John for challenging me for this competition. I really had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you like this video. Thank you so much, Vicky. Thanks.
Huge thanks to Himanshu for participating in this challenge. We definitely plan to do some more challenges like this in the near future, so definitely be sure to like and subscribe. And hey, my name is August. I'll see you in the next video.